Welcome back, commanders, and today we're going to be reviewing the 10.1 update. I'm going to be giving you all the juicy information, and honestly, it's kind of crazy. New updates to the camp buffs, we've got a new officer, we've got a lot to talk about. So, without further ado, let's jump straight into it. So, the first thing we're going to jump into, guys, and show you is going to be the new officer. And just to let you know, you need to have your Air Force base level 28, okay? So, I actually had to upgrade this from 27 to 28 to unlock the new officer. But, let's jump straight on in and show you guys the new officer. Now, unfortunately, guys, she's nothing crazy, okay? She's good. Don't get me wrong, but I still think Nagarami is a better officer. As well as Nagarami being an officer, I still genuinely believe that even Silver Comet, who is literally a Gen 1 officer, and Bladewing's Gen 3 actually, but this Gen 1 officer, I find him to be just as good, if not better. I don't know. It's a hard one. It's a hard one to say. Maybe once Mag has done some more testing on it, we might find out she's better than what she seems on paper, because that sometimes does happen. So let's review the officer's skills here. So her first skill here is the damage buff increased by 15%. Very nice, not too bad. Also, its normal attacks have a chance of dealing crit damage, which is going to be 150%, and you can have a 40% chance of that. Now, again, this is a decent skill. Moving onwards, this skill here, guys, is a definite skill that I would want to talk to you about, and that increases the intercept of this fighter plane's officer by 35%, but it also has a 10% damage. So I have actually, as you can see, level 5, I've decided to drag this over and put this on my skill training. What I had before was this one here, which increases the intercept of this fighter plane by 35%. So what I've done now is upgraded from just the 35% to an extra 10% damage. It's a no-brainer. Very good skill. Me personally, she is a good officer, guys. I'm not saying that. I just don't see myself wanting to get another officer unless they're crazy overpowered. And the reason for it is I can't justify this officer just sitting there doing nothing. I can't run two fighters. You know, if I could, Nagarami would be my option, because I still think Nagarami is a better officer even than this newer officer. So there it is. Okay, moving on. The next one here is a firepower buff of 20% and a HP buff of 20%. Nothing crazy. It's okay. It's a balanced skill. We don't have many balanced skills, especially on the Air Force, but it's just firepower and HP. It's nothing insane, okay? And then finally, we have got here, increases the maneuverability of this officer's plane by 20% and then damage resist by 5%. Not too bad, not too bad, okay? And then finally, it's a passive awoken skill, is this officer's fighter plane troop will strike an enemy again after landing a critical strike of its normal attacks, dealing skill damage 200, can be triggered once every 2 seconds. Now, this is genuinely a pretty good skill. So, whenever you are hitting these crits over here, okay, you have a 40% chance to hit a crit. Okay, so not only do you have a 40% chance of hitting a crit, you then, if you hit that crit, okay, you will then do 200 coefficient damage as well. So you're hitting a crit and you're doing coefficient. Now, that's the only part of this whole officer that's making me really think that maybe she is worth using. How often will that 40% work? Will it be literally every 2 seconds? Because if you are, let's just hypothetically say you do hit 200 coefficient every 2 seconds, it's a decent amount of damage, especially on a fighter plane. But if we go over to here, with this officer, we're getting a 40% damage. That's already more damage than the 15 here and the 10 here. So you only get 25% damage with this officer. That's all you get, 25% damage, okay? Whereas already, just in one skill over here, you're getting 40%. 40% straight away. I'm then obviously already getting the 35%. I'm doing 35% firepower. The other officer only offers 20% firepower. Sure, I get a bit more HP. And then over here, I get a 10% chance of doing crits, whereas over on the other officer, I get a 40% chance. So again, a little bit more crits options. But over here, I have a 70% chance of doing a missile, which is 200 coefficient, okay? And this skill can be triggered every 4 seconds. So again, The thing is, on the other one, I have a 40% chance every 2 seconds. Over here, I have a 70% chance every 4 seconds. And then on top of that, the missile does 10% extra damage if I have tip of the spear deployed, which I do, okay? But even if I didn't, I find this officer, even though he's Gen 1, still can kind of compete with the new officers coming out. And it doesn't make sense, because if you was to look at a Gen 1 officer, here we go, Gen 1 officer from over here, comparing it to new officers that are just coming out now, on the ground force, there is no ground force or Gen 1 officer that's realistically keeping up and competing with Gen 4 ground officers. The fact that there's new officers coming out now that, unless they are better in the field than what they look on paper, I don't see why the Air Force officers are not kind of doing better. But that's just my opinion. Maybe, guys, if someone does want to unlock this, I know, obviously, Mag is going to be unlocking this officer. So he'll do some testing. Make sure you check out his channel. He's going to do the testing for it. Maybe this one skill alone with the whole 200 coefficient every 2 seconds, you know, along with the 40% strike rate, maybe that's enough to really push it over the edge and it be that much better. But until that point, I'm still going to stick with you guys and tell you Nagarami is better at the moment. We know how good she is. She's a very good officer. Again, the only reason I haven't got Nagarami, guys, is I would just feel like I'm wasting Comet if I was to then awaken Nagarami. But again, maybe I will end up changing. We don't know. So, moving on to the next thing, guys, because we've got a lot to talk about. So, sorry, officers are an amazing thing, and I just want to let you guys know I will be doing an updated officer list when the next ground force officer launches. So, stay tuned for that. As soon as the new ground force officer launches, I will be doing an up-to-date pairing list, as well as the fact that I'm also going to talk more about the skills training, because we've got a load of new skills since then as well. We've got a new event, guys, called Fortune's Toss event, and reading about it, it kind of seems like it's the one where you have to, like, you throw the dice and you have to go around the board, and like a Monopoly board. It seems like it's one of those events, but what the rewards are, I can't tell you at the moment. I do apologize. I don't have any more information, but we've got that coming very soon. We also have the new Armament Battle Pass. I believe this is the one where you have like 3 different sections, maybe. I might be wrong here, but I do believe it's one of those sort of battle passes where you have a free version, you have one where you spend 10k gold, and then you have a third version where you need to pay like I think it's like $4.99 or $6.99, something like that. I can't remember the exact value of it, but there's the 3 different tiers, and obviously if you do manage to get all the way to the end of the tier, you definitely want to go for the 10k gold, because you get that 10k gold back anyway, plus all the free goodies. We also have a legendary showroom coming soon. It's going to have a new howitzer skin, I believe. Do I go for it, chat? Do we try and get it? I doubt it. I doubt it. It's a lot of money. Now, moving on to the newest, biggest event that is straight on your screen. You might be asking yourself, what the hell is this? We got Road to Valor. Now, guys, unfortunately, unless you are gonna be like in the top, you're not gonna get this skin, okay? This skin is literally gonna be for I have no money and all the big boys up there, Junga, all the big boys that are always finishing, you know, Barcode, you name them, the top dogs that are at the top, getting the most kills as possible in the highest legendary status. So what the way this works, guys, is let me try and get you the information. So here, as you can see, if you are in the Paramount Cup, you get ×4. If you're in Legendary, you get ×4 as well. If you are in Gold 1, you get ×2. Gold 2, you get 1.5, and then Gold 3, you get 1. If you were in Silver, you can't even participate in this event. So the way it works, guys, is it's kind of the same as, you know, Fighting Machine. You just need to kill reserves and it gets you points. But the higher division you're in, the more points you get. Now, if you are the #1 person, you get this really cool firepower bonus of 15%. Is valid for 63 days. So, like, it's valid for basically 2 months, which is kind of cool. You have 2 months of an extra firepower, HP, research, collection speed. If you come second, you get 8%, which isn't too bad. You also get the new tactic card here, this being the deploys on a map grid within 8 range of your base to increase the damage of your ground force troops and those of your allies inside and within a 1 grid range of the target map grid by 7.5%. So basically, if you're going to be attacking someone and you know they're a thick boy, you park your base up next to them, you could pretty much buff you and your allies within that very close proximity to just deal extra amount of damage. So, and if we want to see the skin here, guys, boom, here it is. And while we're kind of on this Road to Valor thing, just before we check out this skin anymore, is there anything else here? Okay, so this starts on the 31st of August. So we've actually got quite a long time. But it says starts in 16 days. So, because here, current God of War term is from this time to this time. But, I don't know. Up the top left, it says it starts in 16 days. But down here, it says it starts on the 31st of August. So, I'm not sure. We'll find out in 16 and a half days, I guess. So, moving over to here, we are now moving on to the new sort of skin sets and that. And there's a couple of things I wanted to show you within here, which is part of the new update. Now, this button here on the left, I don't know if this is new. Please let me know. I've never seen it before. But you could zoom out. You can actually zoom out now so you can get a full view of what the base looks like. I think it's much better than going through, looking at all the different skins in here. Like, zoom out, you can see the whole base, the animations, everything. I think this is really cool. It's something so small, but so satisfying, in my personal opinion. So, yeah, this is a really nice skin. This is the new God of War skin. Only one person will have this skin. It's a very unique skin. Now, moving on to skin sets. If you click on here, for example, it now tells you which camp it's with, okay? And on top of that, up here, you can switch between the different, sort of whether it's modern and that. And you can kind of get a look at what they're going to look like when in the modern thing. You don't have to go in and actually check out this in this sort of section, if that makes sense. You can just do it all from on the first main page. So as you can see here, I can just switch it through, which is really cool. And obviously it tells you which division it's with. Something very small, but I think it's kind of cool. So the next thing I want to talk to you guys about is the new minimal view. Now, as many of you guys may know, if your phone is kind of struggling, your phone might turn into something called light mode. Now, I'll quickly go back to the main menu now. I've activated light mode. What light mode does is it makes it so that only one unit is on the screen. But as you can see, everything is still animated. So I have one animation of a guy running, the howitzer moving. I can have like, you know, it's all just one animation. Now, there is a new minimal mode. Now, what minimal mode does, guys, is it removes all unit skins, and it's just a still image. You don't see anything but a still image. So this is just going to enhance your performance even more, and it does literally remove the unit skin. So let's just say I had an 8.1 Howie. This skin that I have on my howitzer is a 9.2 skin. So therefore, no matter whether it's 8-star, 8.1, 8.2, 9, 9.1 or 9.2, it's gonna look like a 9.2 unit. The only way you can really tell what size a unit is right now is by waiting for this to move. But if I have this on, you're instantly gonna be able to tell kind of what unit this is. You know, as I said, it's gonna be a little bit harder, but it removes the unit skins. But here's the problem, guys. Whenever you are in minimal or light mode, whenever you look inside a base, as you can see, light mode, you can see the units, but minimal mode removes units. Now, my hypothesis was going to be, when I first read about this minimal mode, I could use the minimal mode to zoom into someone's base and have a look what skin they're, like, remove the skin so I can see what I'm attacking. But when you're in minimal mode and light mode, you can't actually zoom into someone's base. So there you go. You can zoom in once you have it on normal, but as soon as you turn it to minimal or light, it disappears. So you can't really use that. I thought, you know, we were going to trick the system so that I could know if I'm attacking. Because a lot of people, for example, if they have a rocket launcher in their base, I want to know if I'm attacking a 9.2 rocket launcher or if I can tank it because it's only like an 8-star rocket launcher. You just don't know, because a lot of people have, you know, the unit skin for it, which makes it look like a 9.2 unit. So it's kind of hard to tell when there's a unit skin on there. But with that being said, there is no way to trick the system. But if you are struggling, you can activate minimal mode, which is just static images, but obviously your phone might run a little smoother. So guys, another little thing here now is to do with packs. It's kind of to do with spending money, but I thought I'd let you guys know. So as you can see here, guys, I've made my unit 7.2, and the reason for it is I just wanted to be able to upgrade my unit here, and once I promote it, there should be a pack that pops up. Here we go, Path to Power. Now, I've never purchased this Path to Power, so therefore every time, so in 1 hour and 20 minutes when this disappears, if I was to reset my unit and remake it going from 7.2 to a 9.1, I'm gonna get this same pop-up again. Before, it was kind of inconsistent. It didn't always pop up. Sometimes it did, sometimes it doesn't. Now, as long as you haven't purchased it, you'll always be able to get it. Simply reset your unit and re-upgrade it, and you're gonna get any of the pop-up packs available. All 3 of these packs are all available. I'm not sure if they're all a one-time purchase. I think they might be a one-time purchase, but all of these will always pop up now, so you can always grab them whenever you want. So feel free if that's what you like doing. You like getting those pop-up packs. So I personally don't think they're really worth it with these ones anyway. What you get is quite a bit of money for what you get. Maybe this one, even this one's not really worth the amount. It's like, yeah, I don't think it's worth the money, personally speaking, guys. So whoever is about to go into a new level 4, you're now going to have new things you can buy. So with Conquest Cash, which this is already a rare cash. I mean, out of the whole 2 years I've been playing, I've only got 14. I'm trying to save up to get 100 to get the skin for my fighter. But with the Conquest Cash, if you are in those higher leagues and you've got a lot of it left over, you can now buy reverse blueprints. That's correct. So as you can see here, I've still got 2. I've never used my reverse blueprints. Maybe you start with 3 and I've used 1 of them. I can't remember, but I've still got 2 available. Okay, and if I've ever needed to use reverse blueprints, we just go into restricted for that. So again, these are like, I will not use these reverse engineering blueprints unless it is like I really need to. I'm saving it for a super rainy day. I don't want to use it unless I absolutely have to. But with that being said, these reverse blueprints, you can now buy them in the Conquest using Conquest Cash. And also, guys, you can buy the armored wrenches as well with Conquest Cash. It's what it says. Maybe I'm misreading that part though. And there is a new buff coming out now, guys, that you could buy with mission cash. So if we head on over to the cash here, as you can see, we have, for example, grants 5% max HP to all troops for 4 hours. Okay, now there is a new one coming out. Now, yes, this includes air and ground, but there is a new buff coming out that is just for your air units. It's called Air Patrol Basic. So I'm assuming there's gonna be, you know, bigger ones coming out. And what this buff does, guys, it grants you 4 hours of intercept damage resist 40%. That is crazy. That is actually a lot. So pretty much anytime you're fighting, you might as well activate it if you are able to buy these. If you can get intercept damage resist of 40% for all of your air troops, I think that's gonna be crazy. I mean, even then, my actual fighter is designed for intercept, so maybe we're gonna have to start moving away from intercept and more into damage now, and that may actually be a good reason for me to get rid of that officer we were talking about. Obviously, I've been talking now so long about how I don't want to get a new officer because I feel like I'm just going to be wasting, you know, leaving Silver Comet behind. But he's built a lot on intercept, and a lot of my actual skills are talking about intercepts. But with the fact that the new intercept's coming out, maybe this is where it's going to be a good time to get an officer like this, where she offers damage as well as intercept. But even then, we're back to square one because Silver Comet offers a lot more damage than intercept. So again, probably gonna stick with him. But with that being said, guys, there is gonna be a brand new buff coming out, 40% damage resist to intercept, which I think is crazy. So if you are online and fighting, 9 times out of 10 you're always gonna go and activate your HP buff, your firepower buff. You might as well activate the air patrol buff if you have air units. So guys, 2 more things we need to talk about in this update video. The first being walls. Walls have now been upgraded, okay? there is no longer a limit of 300. So it used to go to 300, and most people didn't even have 300 on all of their walls. But now it goes further than 300, guys. It now goes... Oh, wait. Wait a minute. So, wait, 32%. By the way, when did it change to 32? Did it change to 32? Oh, wait. Okay, so 32 is the damage resist since what level? Okay, so once you hit level 200 on all your walls, you hit a 32. So from 200, up to 300, it's 32. Does it go up again? No. So it now goes up to 450, but it stays at 32% damage resist. So with that being said, guys, oh, and in fact, it only goes up by 0.15 mil. Wait. Oh, that's spicy. It's okay. So from before, it was 0.5. Okay. So as you can see here, you got 0.5 mil. So 500k at this level, right? But now it only goes up by 0.15. That's expensive for not a lot more extra. That's actually really expensive for not a lot extra. So that's kind of crazy, if I'm honest with you. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like they won't be super hard to kill because, again, you're not, like, obviously, no money and all that. They're already hard to kill. But once they completely max all their walls up, like, it's going to add a couple of extra 100 mil on. But it's not going to be anything super crazy because it's only 0.15. So maybe it's not going to be too hard. A very bonus tip before, I thought I would show you guys this because it kind of relates to what we're about to talk about, which is the final and honestly the most biggest and impressive part of this update. The new camp bonus, guys. I think this is crazy and I'm pretty sure everyone's going to be talking about this, but you can now in your army group page see what your bonus is you're getting. So right now I'm getting 20% because I currently have a 5-3-1 mode, and I am going to be changing this because I can actually change it to get slightly better. I'll show you how this is. So moving over here, guys, we're going to go and talk about the new camp bonus. So, guys, these new values, it used to be if you had 2 units, you only got 2%. If you had 3 units, you got 4%. If you had 4 units, it would be 8%. 5 units would give you 15%. And then finally, 6 units would give you 18%. Now, the last two being 15% and 18% are still the same. But if you have 2 units, it's gone from 2% up to 5%. If you have 3 units, it's gone 4% to 8%. And finally, if you have 3 units, it's gone from 8% to 11%. I will have a chart on the screen somewhere for you to be able to see all this information in real time. But as you can see, the worst you can get right now is 18%. Okay, the worst you can get from all combos is 18%, and the best you can get is 23%. So there is now only a 5% damage difference between the best possible combo and the worst possible combo, which means doesn't matter what you really run, it's more open to you having a more diverse unit selection on how you personally would like it. So before, guys, I was running 5-2-1, which as you can see would have normally have given me a 17% bonus, but now I'm getting a 20% bonus. So already, just by keeping what I have, I've already gained an extra 3% damage and damage resist. But we're going to see if we can spice this up a little bit. We're going to quickly switch out one of these units to a random unit here. And let me quickly just redeploy my base. Oh, no. So I don't train too many of those units right there. Now, before I had a 20%, if I come down here, I now have 21%. Simply changing my unit right there, I've just gained myself an extra 1% damage and 1% damage resist. And this is troop and base, by the way. So, guys, I hope this update has helped you. And again, please feel free to use the screenshot. I do want to give a shout out to Fubar and Mag. They shared this screenshot with me. I'm not sure if they made it themselves or if they got it from someone else. So if someone else did make this sort of little spreadsheet, thank you for that. And as always, guys, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Please let me know down in the comments what you're most looking forward to. And let me know, of course, if there's any videos you want me to make. Thank you so much for being amazing. And hopefully you'll have a beautiful rest of your week. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everyone.